Oh, yeah. It is Friday night. Let's get on the rocket ship. Good evening, everyone. This is Guns and Cafe, and I will be entertaining you for the next 30 to 45 minutes. Hope everybody's having a wonderful 4th of July weekend. We have some news. I apologize for not being here for the last 2 weeks, but baby's coming, and baby is the priority now. So let's shut down this music and let's get to it, right? Okay, let me see if I can give some more time for people to come in here. Let me see where are my comments. Let me make sure that this is rolling. Yes, our sponsor is here. We want to shout out to our sponsor, Enforcement Coffee. Let me go up here and put him up on the screen. Enforcement Coffee Company. Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. Let's light them up on the screen. Enforcement Coffee Company. Coffee that holds the line. Enforcement Coffee Company, a brand crafted for the unsung heroes of Border Patrol, CBP, ICE, and the U.S. Coast Guard, because the U.S. Coast Guard also does Customs and Immigration Enforcement. This is for those who make sacrifices, those who dedicate themselves to holding the line day in and day out. Enforcement Coffee, because we hold the line. So shout out to Enforcement Coffee Company for sponsoring this this podcast, this blog, this YouTube channel. All right, so let's go. And we have here Homeland Security put out a video. Apparently got a lot of hate because it showed what a removal flight is, or parts of what a removal flight is. Let's see what we get here. Let's go. I'm probably gonna get dinged on that song, so we're gonna have to do this without the audio. So let's go. Got some buses here, a bunch of chains. There's a bunch of people. Oh, hold on 1 second. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. I was told by CNN and all these other people that only Hispanics are being deported. These guys are Asian. So why? What's going on? These guys are Asian. Look, all of them. It's impossible. That cannot be happening. They are all Asian. I thought only in what they told me, the trusted news told me that only Hispanics are being deported. See, there you go. What is going on? It's impossible. See, there's another guy. You look at this. I think this dude right here, he wasn't going along with the program, because these dudes are geared up. They got a CERT team out there. I guess he wasn't going along with the program, and they had to bring out the goons. Got this other guy here, another Asian guy. Yeah. So what's going on? It's impossible. That's as fast as you can. ERO. That, if I remember correctly, that stands for Enforcement Removal Operations. There's another guy here. You see, as fast as you can. Does that mean remove them as fast as you can. That's actually quite hilarious. Get the clothes on. They get on the bus, and there's more buses. People getting out. Okay, getting checked. Leave it on a jet plane. Action. Okay, there's a guy here in tactical gear. Is that a? Trying to see if that's a cat. That's a tourniquet, maybe. So maybe I'm guessing the dudes in camis. I don't think those guys are National Guard. Those guys are probably Border Patrol. Maybe. Oh, look, 777 flying in style. Let me see. Let's see if we can see some patches. Oh, dude's going here. Dude's going there. All right, going on the plane. Yep, Department of Homeland Security. There you go. Huh. Well, here we have some news. Apparently, they had like 10,000 arrests in like 5 days. It's quite a number. Let's see what we got here. See, they say immigrant arrests. Why not illegal alien arrests? See, they use this word. They want to lump everybody in the same category as like immigrants. It's immigrants because immigrant is an actual legitimate status. Surge to 10,000 as ICE clamps down. ICE official, this is the Philly Inquirer saying that ICE officials were told the White House wanted an increase in arrests. According to 3 officials with knowledge of the conversations. Huh, they have knowledge. That is the sneaky way of pulling a Vindman. With Charamella. It's like, oh yeah, I know about that conversation. Yeah, those guys were talking over there, and one of the guys that was in the hallway like heard, and they told me. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what that means. Knowledge of the conversation. You see how they bullshit people? Come on, man. Federal immigration officials have detained more than 10,000 people in the last 5 days. Agency leaders in recent days ordered top ICE officials. So agency leaders ordered top ICE officials. So wouldn't top ICE officials be agency leaders? Right. To focus more on their officers' efforts on picking up immigrants. Oh, they're picking up immigrants. They're not picking up illegal aliens. Oh, or picking up green card holders that have lost their status. Oh no, they're picking up immigrants. Oh, okay. I said they want to deport. Oh, it's because they want to. Because they're meaning they want to. It's not that they're here illegally and they have to go. It's because the officers want to. According to documents obtained by the New York Times. Okay, did they publish the documents? And interviews with federal officials. ICE officers arrested people at check-ins with immigration authorities during traffic stops and on the street. Like law enforcement officers do. Because if you check in, like why would you check in to a police department? Like you're checking in like you're scheduled. People check in with their parole officer. or their probation officer, and sometimes they get arrested. So, what this sounds like. Um, this sounds like bullshit, but it's okay. The push has apparently yielded results with a recent arrest numbers roughly doubling from the 1,000 picked up each day earlier this year. Huh? Really? That's a nice Sam Adams right there. So they're arresting people that they should arrest. Okay. ICE officials were told that the White House wanted an increase in arrests, according to 3 officials with knowledge of the conversation. One of the officials said that it was unclear how long the pace could continue. But the ICE officials have been told that 2,000 arrests a day was a new standard for enforcement. Well, let's look at this. So if you have, let's say, I guess it kind of sounds like a low number. If you have like 30 million illegal aliens in the country, some people say there's higher numbers, which sounds plausible. And there's 50 states and there's 30 million illegal aliens. 2,000 arrests a day across the nation. It's doable, right? There's a lot of people in each state. So across the nation, yeah, it could be done, I think. Surge has occurred without the fanfare of highly visible operations last year, in which officials announced their intentions ahead of time to target cities, including Chicago, and often put in the streets. Mullen Home Security pledged to mount quieter enforcement, campaign chaos, a month-long operation, and fellow officials killed 2 U.S. citizens. Well, it's not that they just killed them because they wanted to. There's more to that. So, if the FBI had killed 2 U.S. citizens, is that something? Would the Philly Inquirer really care, or is it because immigration officers, which have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens if they commit felonies, killed them? Is that it? Because they think, oh, they're immigration officers, they can't do anything to citizens, right? And I have here later on the show this interview that they have with former Chief Bobino, uh, from Border Patrol. Determined to keep its pledge of mass deportations. Message is clear. Come to the country, we'll find you, arrest you, deport you. Okay. What if an uptick in arrests has started to trickle out? So inferior immigrant communities. Well, if you're here legally, you're here legally. Among advocates, warrant term current temporary protected status. Yeah, that went out the window. In recent days, ICE officers have launched an intense push, ramp up arrest 2,400 people. It says here, in emails to ICE personnel, agency leaders applauded the latest numbers. I want to personally thank each of you for your extraordinary efforts this past weekend. Marcos Charles, the head of ICE's deportation wing. What is ICE's deportation wing? Because if the Philadelphia Inquirer, ICE's deportation wing, that has to have a name, and the Philly Inquirer doesn't have it. They're saying, oh, there's an email and it says it's the deportation wing. I was like, okay. Through your dedication, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to our mission, enforcement and removal operations achieve remarkable operational results. Working 7 days a week, and to put 80% of their officers in arrest operations, including 2 officials spoken. Top supervisors were expected to be working closely on the operation as well. Da 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 da. Do 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 do. All right. So let's go here. Let's see. Let's see here because I have a. What does it say here? Is this the one I was looking for? Yeah, I think so. Is it ICE Houston? All right. Let's go to the hot sheets. ICE Houston deports MS-13 gang member with ties to Mexican cartel. Okay, that's July 2nd. Also July 2nd, ICE arrests murders PDFs, predators, and drug traffickers. ICE arrests murder, violence, and drug traffickers. Illegal alien sentenced to 30 years in prison for CP, Charlie Papa, in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Interesting. Oh, yeah, this is yes. Good old Tim Walz, pardoning convicted illegal aliens, but let's go over here first. Illegal alien sentenced to 30 years in prison for CP in Fredericksburg, Virginia. United States Department of Homeland Security, DHS, released the following statement after an investigation by Customs of Use, by ICE, led to the sentencing of an illegal alien from Mexico for production of CP abuse material in Virginia. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Virginia, Samuel Flores de Dios, a criminal illegal, this clown, I'm just going to say clown, this pervert produced CP on at least 4 occasions in 2025. In each of those instances, he brought a victim under the age of 13 to the bedroom in an apartment he was renting in Fredericksburg and abused that person and recorded it on cell phones positioned around the bedroom. These dirtbag douchebag. One of the cell phones belonging to Flores de Dios. You know, it's here's the thing. You have this dirtbag committing crimes to children, and his name translates to flowers of God. Yeah. Okay. On June 24th, sentenced to 30 years in prison, as well as a lifetime supervised release, registered as sex offender, ICE lodged a detainer. This illegal alien has repeatedly abused a child younger than 13, filmed it to produce child pornography. He will be behind bars for the next 30 years. Who knows? He might not be able to do the 30 because if they find out what he did in there, the people on the other side of the bars might have something to say or do. This is in Virginia. Angelica Carrasco, child exploitation. It says here. Under Governor Spanberger, Virginia has become a hotbed, I say, of illegal alien crime. Some of the recent illegal alien crimes in the sanctuary state. Moises Domingo Rico from Nicaragua, arrested in Annandale. Another alien from Mexico for molestation in Woodbridge. Carjacking and abduction in Herndon. Another from Guatemala. Crimes for 8-year-old girl. Another El Salvador, Mexico, Cuba, cocaine. There's rape, MS-13, more CP. Fairfax County, felony murder and felony child abuse. In April 15th, Misael Lopez Gomez from Guatemala was arrested and charged with murder and felony child abuse after bludgeoning his own 3-year-old daughter to death in Fairfax County. Where's this dirtbag? Oh, so this is from April. Department of Homeland Security announced that ICE issued an arrest and a detainer asking Virginia Central politicians not to release a criminal alien from jail back into the streets after he allegedly murdered his 3-month-old daughter in cold blood. Fairfax County PD responded, baby, 3-month-old baby girl was pronounced dead at the time of the baby's death. He was in the care of her father. This dude. Okay, it says here. Crossing 2023 under the Biden administration. ICE lodged a detainer for Lopez to request sanctuary to opposition not to release him from jail without notification. Well, yeah, I mean, craziness. Let me see if this is this is Houston. That's the video that I showed you. And again, once again, thank you to our sponsor, Enforcement Coffee Company. Enforcement Coffee Company, a brand crafted for the unsung heroes of Border Patrol, CBP, ICE, and the U.S. Coast Guard, which actually does customs and immigration enforcement as well as and rescue operation. This is for those who make the sacrifices, those who dedicate themselves to holding the line day in and day out. Enforcement Coffee, because we hold the line. You go in there, you click on it, very easy. Probably be in your house within less than a week. And they, from what the sponsor told me, they roast your coffee once you make the order. 2 days after you make the order, because they have like high volume, then they'll roast your coffee. And once the coffee is roasted, then they send it to you. It's not that the coffee has been in bags for like months. So that's what they told me. So there you go. Okay, now we're going to go to the interview with Chief Bobino.
The U.S. Border Patrol was, you could say, the redheaded stepchildren. They're the federal government, often underfunded.
Thank you to all those that are showing up.
Sort of America's secret there in the Southwest there that no one really paid attention to. So therefore, I thought it was much more important to get through those lean times, those tough times via leadership, because leadership can really have an effect, good or bad, on a mission, and most especially on our most precious of resources, and those are the Border Patrol agents. So as I joined the Border Patrol in '96 in El Centro sector, and then climbed the ranks, I became a first-line supervisor in approximately 2002. And I thought, let's provide leadership to these men and women that are out there giving it their all with nothing.
So he became a supervisor in 2002 so that he will be a frontline supervisor by then.
That was before the days of remote video surveillance cameras, drones, the really good ground detection sensors that we have now. They did it on their own. So let's support those folks and let's lead those folks and make them successful in a very difficult mission. So, I think that lack of resources back then was something that really spoke to the need for good, strong leadership that would stand up for agents that might not otherwise have a voice or have good leadership.
I'm glad you said that, because you have said that it's been your great honor to serve along alongside those agents who are doing an incredibly difficult job with that lack of resources. If you listen to the media now, you think that Border Patrol are running around in helicopters and everybody's got a personal drone and this and that, and yet nothing could.
From what my understanding and the research I've done, Border Patrol was always one of the most underfunded agencies. It's like the Border Patrol is basically the Marine Corps of federal law enforcement. They're forward deployed, they're self-sustaining, they got their own like area unit and their own river unit and their own horse unit patrol. And they're out there, middle of nowhere, day in, day out at night. And apparently, and now finally, they're starting to get some money.
Be further from the truth, right?
Exactly. And that speaks to those vacillations of politics. There's some political regimes that come in that are actually pretty good to the Border Patrol. Donald Trump, for instance, hey, he wants to fund us. He wants to give us the equipment, the manpower, technology, all this good stuff. But look what happened, Trump 45. And then all of a sudden Biden came in and took it all away. Not only did he take it away, he took more away than what we had, and it made it actually worse. So those vacillations of politics definitely affect the Border Patrol, perhaps more than any other federal law enforcement agency. And that's bad, Sarge, in many ways, but in some ways that makes our workforce more resilient, doing more with less in difficult times like that. So it's not all bad. If we don't have all the best equipment or the best funding, we make do. Sort of the Marine Corps of federal law enforcement, I guess.
Oh, see, there you go. I haven't even watched this interview yet. This kind of crazy that he said that.
Could say, and it does make our men and women more resilient. And when I say I like to, my greatest pleasure is serving alongside those Border Patrol agents. That's one reason why, is that resilience, that spirit there on the border. Wow, it motivates me as a leader. Actually, I actually get motivated by them. And hey, if we don't have brand new Tahoes to drive, well, you know what? We're still going to get the job done. And it's that Border Patrol spirit that does it. It's again our most precious.
Yeah, it's like he said, they always are out there doing the most with the least.
Just resource. That's the agents.
So here you are, you're a cop, you're a boss, you're doing your job, and then all of a sudden you are thrust into really the international media, and you're running these operations in Minneapolis, in Texas, in LA. And so you're not just dealing with that, but you're also the subject of all kinds of vitriol and there's everybody go online and look at all the Gregory Bovino memes that are out there, good and bad. You become this incredible, larger than life figure. What was that like?
Well, honestly, I was so busy, Sarge, that a lot of times I didn't even have time to really take a look at that, nor delve too deep into that. A lot of times I don't take myself very seriously anyway. So, yeah, I knew there was obviously a lot of media, as you say, a lot of vitriol, especially by those politicians. I did key in on that because when you have a Governor Newsom or Governor Pritzker or all those crazy mayors,
news come
that are impugning or saying bad things about my Border Patrol and my agents, we're going to have a problem. We're fixing to have us.
That right there is leadership. And that is why, from all the videos that I saw, it would appear that Border Patrol agents would follow that guy straight into hell because of the way that he fought for them.
A problem immediately. So I did key in on some of those things. And one of the things I wanted to do was set the record straight as best as I could. We had a very strong social media platform, or several platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and X. And a lot of people said, wow, you've posted some really strong messages or videos or things like that. Well, we meant to do that. Betsy, we meant to do that. There's a reason for that, is when you have a Pritzker or a Newsom saying Border Patrol agents are Nazis or Gestapo,
a Newscom and a prickster,
or whatever they were saying, and they said everything. They said everything under the sun. It was amazing. It was breathtaking. But let's put the truth out there. Let's key in on that, and we'll push them back on their heels. So I think that one of the things that I wanted to do there in the face of all that was push them back on their heels. And the way to do that is, one, tell the truth, because a legal, ethical, and moral law enforcement mission is a truthful mission. And it's awfully hard to argue with the truth. There's 2 court decisions, the Supreme Court there in Los Angeles on consensual encounters, and then the 7th appellate court victory on our use of force in Chicago. That really put them back on their heels, and I let them know it. But don't mess with our fellow police officers. And I know you probably felt the same way when you were in the police force. Don't mess with those folks out there putting it on the line every day.
Yeah, leave the politics out of it. Let them do their job.
Because then you idealize people like me, and I'm not the person you want to idealize, because I'm going to come really hard. And that's one of the reasons that I did come pretty hard there in social media.
How difficult was it to try, you're just trying to do your job, have your people do their jobs, and you've got not just the nutty protesters and things like that, but you literally have the media working against you. You have all the politicians you named and more working against you, and for a period of time there, especially during the Biden administration, you literally had your employer working against you with things like the CBP1 app and these parolees, as they call them, who only
open border under the Biden administration. It's like, hey, I know your job is to be the border patrol, but I don't want you to patrol the border.
70% of them were even doing the reporting they were supposed to. Did you and your people seem like an island there for quite a while?
Yes, in many ways that's correct. The 2-front war is never the war that you want to fight on 2 fronts. We want to fight the bad guys. All cops, all Border Patrol agents, we want to fight the bad guys. And that's what we should be fighting, is the bad guys. But when you have to fight the good guys that are supposed to be, well, your support, it does make it a lot more difficult. That's where the leadership principles you were talking about come into play. I had a very strong staff in the El Centro sector, strongest Border Patrol staff that I've ever had the pleasure of working with. So we'd worked together for many years, because I actually stayed in El Centro as a chief patrol agent, generally a lot longer than most chiefs are able to stay, probably because of Biden. He didn't want me anywhere else, thought they would contain me there. So what that did is it allowed us to train that staff up. We were all on the same sheet of music. So when you have a very strong staff, and then that trickles down to those line agents, those Border Patrol agents working the line, when we're in close concert working together like that, whether it's on the border or in the middle of Minneapolis, we're on the same sheet of music. And that, coupled with the fact that it's always important for the leaders to take those heat rounds. We'll just call them heat rounds. If there's heat rounds coming from the good guys, the Biden administration, they relieve me of command at one point, or that crazy media in Chicago or Minneapolis, there's someone that needs to take those heat rounds and take them gladly for that workforce. So
that's the leader right there. I don't care what you say. If you've had good leaders and you had bad leaders, tell me, what kind of leader do you think this guy is? I think it's pretty easy to figure out the type of leader that he is.
My staff and I, we tried to shed a lot of that heat so they could only have to worry about going out and doing that job, doing that immigration mission, whether it was on the border under the crazy Biden times, that catastrophe, the millions coming across, or in those cities. We learned a lot there on the border under Biden. We learned a lot, and all kudos to my staff because they learned a lot and they turned that right around, took it to the interior, and applied those lessons that we had already learned over those past 4 years. So, yeah, two front wars are never optimal. Hey, we're still fighting a two front war, Betsy. I mean, look at some of the politicians now, the things they're saying. Look at what Chucky Schumer said.
Chucky
here,
Schumer, that's funny.
Last week. I mean, he said, "Hey, the American public hates ICE and the Border Patrol," and then all of a sudden, the president is somebody's trying to shoot the president. People listen to those.
Yeah, that was wild.
Words. And I think more than anything, the Border Patrol agents there in the cities were like, these politicians are causing this to happen. The Chucky Schumers are causing this to happen.
I love that. The Chucky Schumer. That is hilarious.
And then even some of those politicians that remain silent, I call those rhinos. I didn't hear Tom Tillis or Representative McCall from Texas or that Joe Kennedy from Louisiana saying anything while we were fighting the two front war. But they came in on that backside and then had some rather distasteful things to say about Border Patrol and our operations. So two front wars, not a good scenario, but
yeah, how can you be in a position in which they tell you that your job, you're entrusted with securing the United States border, but at the same time, the people that are supposed to back you up are shitting on you? How about that?
Like any law enforcement anywhere, whether Chicago PD, US Border Patrol, we're going to complete the mission and we're not going to complain about it. We're just going to stand to and do it.
I think one of my biggest frustrations is this forced separation of local law enforcement, state law enforcement, county law enforcement, and our federal partners. When American law enforcement officers have worked so well for decades and decades with federal law enforcement in places like Chicago and Minneapolis. What was that like to see, especially, in a place like Minneapolis where those men and women have been so wildly vilified, and then you guys are there trying to help them, and yet they're basically separated from you.
Yeah, that's a travesty. What a travesty of our times. What a travesty against the U.S. taxpayer. The rank and file Border Patrol agents and the rank and file police officers and sheriff's deputies and law enforcement, we've always gotten along, as you well know, Sergeant. We've always gotten along. We've always supported each other. We'll roll the cavalry for any law enforcement anytime. But one of the things I want the viewers to know, and all the police associations out there to know, is that they still had our backs. And I think if something really, really bad had happened, they would have had our backs. We had their backs. I can't count the amount of times that the rank and file would come up and say, hey, we're sorry. We support what you're doing.
Yeah, what they did to the Border Patrol and ICE in all these sanctuary cities, leaving them out there alone to, out to dry. But then if ICE or Border Patrol was around and they heard a call for service or they heard of an officer, local or state, that was in trouble, they would drop what they were doing and respond over there. Yeah. That goes to show who they are as an agency.
You're helping the community. The crime is like plummeted in places like, everywhere we went, LA, Chicago, Charlotte, New Orleans, everything. So every time we talk to local law enforcement, oftentimes they would have to do that in the shadows. They would have to actually talk to us in the shadows for fear of those politicians, those city council members or county or commissioners or whoever these politicians were that would actually see them talking to us. But you know what? They made it a point to talk to us, and we made it a point to talk to them. A lot of challenge coins passed back and forth between local law enforcement and U.S. Border Patrol in those cities. So like we said in those cities, Sarge.
So for those that don't know, challenge coins is little unit coins. It's like when you're trading patches. Then each unit or each agency will create a coin specific to that agency, that AOR, or that unit. And whatever design, model, they will trade with them as because they work together, they respect each other, and it has a lot of history. And it's challenge coin too, because that also comes from the military. Because if you're in a function and it's not as prevalent as before, if you go to a big function and there's a and somebody does a coin check and you get caught without a challenge coin because they challenge you, right? Then you're the one buying the round. So challenge coins.
Those are our brothers and sisters in blue, and we always have their back. They've got a tough job, almost a tougher job than us, because guess what? They're up against that same type of out of control activist politicians that, hey, it might be immigration one day, but you know what? They're on those cops the next day for something else. And they've got a inhumanly tough job in those blue cities. But we saw eye to eye, and Superintendent Schnelling there at Chicago PD, we talked a lot on the phone, and he was a cop's cop. Old Schnelling was a cop's cop. Yeah. And he said, hey, if you need something, we will roll the cavalry, and I'll just do it myself. I respected that a whole lot from Schnelling. He was a good guy.
Well, and you made at least 3,200 arrests there for Operation Midway Blitz. And but people listening to this are saying, most people voted for mass deportations. What is that going to take from a logistical point of view for the American public to see these mass deportations really take hold?
Yeah, mass deportations are the key. First and foremost, everyone has to realize that mass deportations are the key. If we keep scratching the surface, we'll never get there. With tens of millions, my number's 100 million illegal aliens here in the United States, in all cities, all regions, whether it's a rural environment or the city, they're everywhere. They fill our jails, schools, hospitals, take social services, cause rents to soar. They hurt our affordability, all sectors. So because they affect all sectors need to affect them. And I call that total spectrum immigration enforcement. Total spectrum, that is everything being brought to the forefront of enforcement. But not only enforcement, but there are many other areas that we can delve into that we haven't. And I've said this often, but the grassroots being Mom and Pa America, the grassroots being the million police officers nationwide. Could you imagine, Betsy, if
you could get cooperation, and from what I've read, that's what the Trump administration wants to do. They want to get into some arrangements with the with local police departments and the sheriff's departments to designate. Well, they'll train, and then they'll designate someone into they will train them in immigration enforcement, and then that person will basically be deputized as a federal immigration officer to, if they do a stop and they, somebody gives them a foreign driver's license or foreign ID, then they can start asking questions. Or if somebody ends up at the jail and it turns out that during intake, they discover that that person is from another country, or they have a passport or an ID from a different country, then that's what I've seen in all the the webs and all these podcasts and everything. That listen to a bunch of stuff. That's what they then that deputy in the jail that has been the deputy that was been deputized as a federal officer will then start the paperwork and the removal proceedings for that alien.
We were able to bring all the 287G. 287G is
See, there you go.
The immigration statute that allows state and locals to enforce some immigration laws. Imagine all the 287Gs that we could bring into the fight nationwide in earnest with the police officers. Imagine Mom Pa America actually calling a nice tip line that worked and treating that like a call for service, just like it would be a 911 call or a call for service in a city or wherever. Imagine that true whole of government approach, but it needs to be even more than that. Bringing in our grassroots is so very important, so vital to making that happen. So it's got to be everything all at one time. You may hear, hey, we're going to go after folks at the work site enforcement. Well, you know what? If you rely on any one tactic, then you're not seeing the larger picture here. It's all tactics. It's one giant war. Anything that we can bring legally, ethically, and morally into this fight, that's how we win it. And then those self-deportations, so vitally important. We started that in Los Angeles, Chicago, and New Orleans, especially New Orleans. And those self-deportations are key. So let's have them deport, so we're not putting handcuffs on 100 million people. That's a lot of people to arrest. Let's have them do it themselves. Total spectrum immigration enforcement does that. It causes that mass deportation to happen. And there's so many different tactics and strategies that can be brought together at one time to do that. So we're going to have to do that, and it's called willpower. Do we have the willpower to do that? You know what? The 90% of Americans that I've talked to on the ground in places like Minneapolis, Chicago, talking to people like you, Betsy, we do have the willpower. It's just there seems to be a very vocal, small minority, whether that's extremists or activists or even some of those politicians that don't have the willpower. But 90% want it. We need to start now because the time's getting late.
Thanks so much for tuning in to part one of our fascinating interview with Border Patrol Chief Greg Bavino. Don't miss part two. And in the meantime, if you'd like more information about the National Police Association, you can follow us on Facebook, follow us on X, follow us on LinkedIn, and of course, you can go to our website at nationalpolice.org.
Every day, the brave men and women of law enforcement put their lives on the line to keep us safe. But they need our help to continue their mission. Activist politicians, progressive prosecutors, the ACLU, and the rest of the anti-police forces.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is all for today. Thank you for all of you that showed up. I will be here hopefully next Friday, God willing. And as I always say, thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It's just a little click. It costs you nothing, and it lets me know that you like what I'm doing so I can continue doing it. If you like it, share it with your friends. If you hated it, share it with your enemies.